Elif Begüm Aksoy, and today we will talk about 7 ways to prepare for flight training. Before you start your journey in the sky, there are several steps you can take. These steps will help you along the way to your aviation career. Here is what you can do before you start your training. Being a passenger on training flights. It's better to fly in a training flight in a small aircraft before starting the actual flight training. That way, you can see you're being the student in the aircraft and evaluate yourself for process. You can ask your future flight school or just a friend in flight training to be their passenger for a few lessons. During the flight, you can pay attention on what's going on and try to understand what's waiting for you in your training. Practice with simulators. Nowadays, any computer can run a flight simulator, high or low quality. While developing your hand-eye coordination to be used in the flight training, you can expand your knowledge range on the aviation and flight mechanics. Even if you don't have a computer that can run a high-end flight simulator such as Microsoft Flight Simulator or X-Plane, you can try a flight simulator app on your mobile device. Learn to watch the weather. Weather is always a factor when flying. A pilot should know, even feel, what the weather will become next. A bad weather can be fatal, and even if not, it's not worth taking risk. As a student pilot, knowing about the further weather conditions will be a big plus for your training, since it's your duty to know the weather on the planned flight path. Since you will already learn about the atmosphere and weather conditions in your PPL training, you will get head start on any of these weather or meteorology basics. Practicing communication on radio. Communication is one of the most struggling things during the flight for students. Being unfamiliar with the aviation jargon and excitement coming from the situation may block off the ability speaking fluently and correctly. In order to eliminate these blocks, you can practice even before starting your training. Listening to live ATZ broadcast, practicing with other pilots, or recording your own voice and listening to it can develop greatly communication skills. Set a goal. For a ship with no destination means don't have any use. Setting a goal for after flight training is one of the best things you can do for yourself. If you don't have a plan for after finishing your training, you may feel a lack of motivation during your training. By setting a goal such as being an airline pilot or a real firefighting pilot, you can keep your motivation high and learn easier. Study simple physics of flight. If you know how an aircraft flies, you will fly it better. It's not a big surprise. By knowing how the wings create lift force enough to keep the aircraft in the air and knowing what to do in order to keep it the way, you can fly more confidently. Simple physics phenomena keep the aircraft whether it's the 748 or C-152. Network with pilots. One way of getting familiar with the flight training is talking with the other pilots. Even pilot was once a student pilot, which means you can learn from their experiences. Ask them for their suggestions or what can do your problem training. Every pilot was once a student pilot when we said earlier, so they have already seen what you are about to see or experience.